And yeah, so I will go ahead and kick it off. Welcome everybody to our Creator Fireside chat. We do these monthly where we bring in creators who have specialized skills and experiences to come in and share those experiences, their best practices, answer questions from you, and also just hang out with the community. I think that's one of the best things is just all of us coming together to hang out. And this time around, we have the wonderful Directing Pete, who is a Fortnite creative extraordinaire, and recently UEFN. He's been building a lot of tutorials on YouTube. You can check them out at Directing Pete. And this all started back when there was the block contest. For those who remember that, he couldn't resist the call and crafted a mind-blowing Omega Period Island. And you know what?
Omega Pyramid
map. Yeah, it was beautiful. And you know what? That creation got picked as one of the winners. And man, let's just give some applause for Pete. That was super awesome. But also the wonderful thing, what I'm so excited to talk to you about, Pete, today, as somebody who is an ally for game accessibility, is talking about how you have brought awareness to your learning disability and how that has made things tricky for you to learn new things like UEFN and creative and big programs and things like that. But what's really cool is that you decided to take that upon yourself to build out tutorials that were step by step and really easy to follow for all of us in the community, including myself. You've definitely helped me learn creative, which is super cool. Before I even met you, I was watching your videos. So we really, really appreciate that you've taken that and then turned it into something wonderful for the community. And now you've got an awesome project where you're working deep with UEFN. I saw you announced a new project that you're working on. I think it was in June.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to hear, of course, at the end, like how all that's going. But you're all about spreading that creative love, and we really, really appreciate it. And all of your content is aimed at both newbies and creators that are just up and coming or growing, or even people who are looking, hey, I haven't checked out this new thing. How do I do it step by step without missing a beat? So we really, really appreciate you. So yeah, let's take you on a chill ride of inspiration and fun today.
All right. I'm excited.
We're gonna grill Pete because he's got so many questions.
Here we go.
But they're so wonderful. So it's gonna be super exciting. And of course, share your thoughts in chat too. If you have experiences, Pete and I are both here to learn more about you too. So if there's anything that resonates with you, let us know in chat. And with that, Pete, I'm gonna let you. I know, I've talked with you several times. I, hopefully did a good job at introducing you, but I'd love to hear in your words, and I'm sure the community would too, what your journey has been like from, you could even go back to your expertise in film as well, and then getting into Fortnite Creative and ultimately UEFN and kind of what that journey has felt like.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go back. We'll go back a little bit of ways here. And, growing up, I've always had a love for games, but thinking about being a game developer, anything like that, just never was a thing, at least when I was younger, in my mind. Like, it just seemed way too hard or just so out of scope, So one of the passions that I had growing up was filmmaking, being able to tell a story. What's the best format to do that? And at that moment in time, filmmaking was the best way for me to express myself. So that was the real focus for me. And eventually got really into that, really passionate about it. I did a feature film that came out back in 2017. It's an indie film, nothing too crazy, but it was so much fun to make, just being able to tell a story and share it with the world. And gaming had always interested me. You had games like The Sims, where you could build your own houses and your own in communities and all these little builder games. And I've always been attracted to those type of games. So when Fortnite Creative came out and was announced, I was just jaw drop in awe. Like, wow, you can make maps with these kind of graphics? Like, that's insane. This is incredible. And I think it was not even a week or two after they announced it, there was a big Fortnite update where they advertised the block. And I just remember seeing this big gray slab in chapter 1 and going, what the heck is this? What are they up to? And it just got me so interested. And I looked up where to find the rules, how to apply and what to do. And I just went for it. designed my first creation ever, which is that Omega pyramid that you talked about. And it really just drew me in, especially when I got chosen. It was like the most unreal experience to launch into a game of Fortnite and just see something you created in the actual live game. And at that moment, I was like, okay, I'm in love with this platform. I want to learn more, right? Because that was just design. That was game design. That was building something. I didn't have to really do mechanics for the block or anything like that. So I really wanted to up my game. At the time, I was looking around for tutorials, and this was a while back, right? There wasn't really too much of anything. The tutorials out there at the time were good. There was definitely good tutorials, but nobody was covering, the things I wanted to learn. And there was just so much to learn that I was like, okay, I want to figure this out on my own, and see about kind of giving back to the community. One of the things I struggle with is, I think I mentioned to you, Shane, a lot in our talks, is I do have a little bit of a learning disability. I don't talk about it too much, but I have a very hard time grasping things, understanding things, learning new content. It just takes me a long time to really understand and grasp things. I know a couple of the creators know. I'll bug them all the time being like, how do you do this again? Or I completely forgot how to do this. And thank you. You know who you are. I really appreciate you putting up with me. But I have always struggled with that. And so I was thinking to myself, if I can make a tutorial that I understand, I know this may help others. And I didn't really go into it thinking I would make an impression on too many people, just that, okay, the people that like my learning style will enjoy this, right? I just go into depth and teaching not just the why, or the how, but the why. And just kind of going through the methodology in my head of why am I doing it this way? Because there's many ways to do one thing in creative, but it was just my version of it. And I love that about tutorials. And that's why, tutorials to me, I don't look at it as really a competitive market. It's just kind of an area to share. There could be 3 or 4 tutorials about the same thing, but they're all taught differently and the methods are different. And that's what I love so much about the tutorial community is like when I make a tutorial about a subject and somebody else made that same tutorial, I don't really feel like it's a competition. It's just, this is a different learning style and I'm just teaching it a little bit differently with my knowledge set. Some people will appreciate it, that learning style, and some may appreciate another tutorial creator style. Anyway, years have passed. I've been doing it for many years now. I love the tutorials. I love creating them. Now with UEFN, I did slow down a bit at the beginning. I got really pumped and put them out. Slowed down for a little bit just because, like I mentioned, it took a really long time for me to grasp all these new concepts, really understand what I'm doing. But I'm really excited to at least announce now that I will be coming back, putting out a lot more content here in the near future. So I really look forward to that.
Thank you so much, Pete. Loving the chat for Pete and for the tutorial community at large. I see a lot of that. You brought up so many great points, Pete. I really appreciate it. And we really appreciate you talking more about your learning disability. That's super helpful. And also what I really love that you touched on was the why things happen, why they, what is the going through the steps of what makes something happen in your mind and asking why. We really all should ask why a lot more.
Right.
There's books written on that, and it's so helpful. And with you being able to do that work for us and put out those tutorials and the other creators that we also have, we really appreciate it. And thank you so much for bringing up that point too about the community for tutorials in creative and UEFN and how it really is. That's what's lovely is they all kind of work together for all different learning styles. One thing I've learned in production, for example, in gaming, one of the big things producers do, which I'm sure it's probably similar in film as well, is how do I communicate and how do I, walk through things for certain people? Everyone has different learning styles, like you're saying. And so some person's teaching style might fit others better than the next person. And for me, when I was really building out streaming back in the day, I would look through tons of tutorials on the same topic. And then I would find that creator that content creator that resonated with me on his tutorials or her tutorials on, okay, this is my learning style and this really fits. So we really appreciate each and every one of you. And we're so thankful to have Pete here to kind of share that stuff and also bring more awareness to what it's like to be a content creator in this space, especially with tutorials. So all of that being said, yes, so much love. We've got a lot of questions to go through. I'm going to see, you touched on a lot, so I'm going to make sure that we don't go over anything that you already talked about. And it sounds like to you, though, based on what you said, Pete, it was pretty much a natural progression from your background in film to be in this kind of creative space, which is super exciting. And I'm curious to hear, what is your favorite project you've ever worked on? It might be the pyramid, but figured I'd ask in case there was something else, or it could be a video.
The pyramid obviously was iconic for me and it was big and all that, but no, it actually wasn't my favorite project. My favorite project really has to be the Battle Royale series that I put out. I think it's been 3 years now, almost 3 years.
Nice.
And I love that series because I was able to tell a story through it. And, kind of bridging off of what we were talking about before with filmmaking, I'm able to tell stories with filmmaking. I wanted to be able to do the same with gaming, right? Bring people into this world, develop characters, let the story progress. It's not just a game where you drop in and you're trying to win the victory, but you're walking around learning the lore of the map and all that. That kind of stuff really excites me. I've always been a big lore fanboy, and so I wanted to be able to tell a story, and this platform allowed me to do it. And so my favorite map, getting back to the question, really was just this BR, because what I could do is introduce seasons, and I could progress the storyline and show, not only just make it fun, but teach it as well. And teach how I created the map, or how did I do this one cool thing in this season of the map. And I don't know, I get a lot of enjoyment doing that kind of stuff. And for that reason, it just ended up becoming my all-time favorite thing to build, even though it was very hard and it was a lot of stress, just because there's so many components with not just making a map, but you're making story trailers to go with the map, and you're making advertising and your Twitter posts and your YouTube posts and all that kind of stuff.
And you're the community manager for your own game as well.
Yes, you're your own advertising arm and everything.
Yes, which everyone here can relate to.
Exactly. And I know there's a lot of solo creators in the house. So, snaps to you as well, because that solo life is hard, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And there was a great question in chat by Gatlin Shadow. Are you seeing any crossover between the movie industry and Fortnite or on creative or UEFN? Like, are there studios looking at UEFN and Fortnite creatives to tell stories? Super interesting. I mean, yeah, there's a lot going on in the movie industry, so I'm not sure if that's but great question.
No, it's actually a great question, and the answer is yes. From what I've seen, I'm really fortunate where I'm able to be a creator and have a full-time job, which is a lot to juggle, but I do it. So, and in my full-time job, I do work in the entertainment industry, and that has really kind of opened my eyes to both worlds. And, I'm talking about making another film in next year, and we're looking at Unreal to do most of our background shots for that film. There's been a lot of advancement that the film industry is excited about with Unreal Engine, being able to, use these kind of half video walls that you've seen in like pretty big TV shows. They've been using Unreal Engine, which is really exciting. And you think about, they're in Unreal Engine already creating assets for these shows. So imagine they already have the assets ready to go. It's only a matter of time, I believe, before they kind of realize that they can take those assets into something like UEFN, work with creative teams, and start building these environments that are already halfway built. It's pretty exciting. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I'm exploring those opportunities as well, but it's so cool to see how the film industry and how UEFN and these tools that are coming together. It's just so fascinating to see all the movement in the space just in the last year.
Appreciate you, Pete, for answering that. I know it was a curveball for you, but that was a really cool
throw 'em at
question.
me.
Figured it would be good to touch on. Very, very insightful. Another great question that we have here. As a Fortnite creator, what aspects of level design do you find the most intriguing? And how do you strike a balance between the visual aesthetics and strategic elements to create captivating island?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one. But for me, with level design in particular, for me, and I'll just give away a couple things. I'm working on a new map in UEFN right now, and it's a new battle royale map. And I really sat down the first month UEFN came out, and I wanted to really explore how am I going to make this map? What works with my other maps? What wasn't working before? How do I take that and use that with game level design in this new map and create something that's really going to, and at least I think anyway, is going to be appealing to my audience. And for me, I've learned a lot. Mustard Plays gave me an opportunity to do a build challenge where I built Micro Royale in 24 hours. And that little map that I made, that little micro UEFN map I made, did really well. And it got a lot of exposure. And I learned really quick that smaller is good, less is more sometimes. And so I'm adapting that into this new map I'm making. It's definitely not the largest battle royale out there, but I've learned with the level design that I've chosen for this map, I want to try to make it so there's not a lot of empty space. I really spent a lot of time on making sure that no matter where you walk in this world, there's something appealing. There's some kind of destination for you to reach. So when you do a 360 anywhere on the map, the idea is that there's something that will appeal to the player to draw them to that POI or to that mini area. And there's just not like a big sprawled out open area of space. And so trying to keep the player's attention, keeping them interested. My level design, really, I put a lot of thought into what should be rendering in, what shouldn't be rendering in. I spent a ton of time on the world partition settings, making sure that the things I want to be rendering in are, but also making sure the things I don't, like the interiors and props inside of buildings, are not. So I've been spending a lot of time with that to optimize my map to really give the player a focus on where the best point of interest to be and what would drive them or attract them to keep moving around the map.
It's a great, great call out there.
Really
Point of interest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go
Really
ahead.
hope that answered the question.
Yeah, no. I think that's you combine both the visual and the strategic elements. So I think that was perfect. And as someone who has worked closely with teams who were, point of interest was what they were known for, and really building that out in the industry, I learned a lot in that space. And that's an excellent call out that I don't think we talk about a lot in creative and UEFN. And definitely super smart and super engaging. It's also pulling you into that world more, right? So that's
Right.
that's what we're looking to do. I have a good question for handling kind of things that come up, right? So Fortnite Creative and UEFN, they're constantly evolving. There's new updates, there's new changes. How do you usually approach resource balancing when it comes to your designs and considering that the tools are always changing? There's always new stuff.
Right. That's a great question, right? We come in on update day and then the challenge awaits, which is what new features do I want to implement to take advantage of these new updates? What changes are in the UEFN or in UEFN and in Fortnite Creative, right? Because I still have maps in both. I still update in both. So I look at update days as a great day for me to go in and take advantage of whatever new features there are to kind of push out into the maps. Also, I wanted to spend time to see, what can I change, or maybe UEFN or Fortnite Creative had a change that made one of my maps kind of change its behavior. So I wanted to go in and make sure that behaviors are still the same using the new tool sets that were introduced, or maybe a backend change was made that didn't make something I put in work the way it did before, but now I'm going to go in and just either patch that or find a way around. But what's amazing is it allows you to kind of go in and rethink some of the strategies you have when creating a map. I can give an example. When I'm using player counters, sometimes, they would work and sometimes they won't. I think that's been fixed since, but you're always kind of thinking of creative ways of how do I safeguard things I'm putting into a map. So I do things like timers, continuous timers that will check into the player counter that just says like load, every minute, just make sure, load this just in case it's not, so I put that kind of thought into devices. Yes, it should be doing X, but what's my backup plan in case it's not, in case I'm not thinking about it, or maybe I missed a step, right? And that's how I handle those kind of updates is just, how can I put safeguards into my devices? Because things change, right? And every platform, whether it be UEFN, Fortnite Creative, your phone's operating system, software is software. It updates, it presents new challenges, new opportunities. And, we all get a little, stressed out when those days come, but you just have to roll with it. You got to adapt. And hey, challenges just make you stronger. So that's how I deal with it.
We appreciate that. And what great call outs too. I mean, that's with anything, like you said, any platform you deal with, any game you deal with, oh my goodness, it could be anything. What's going on in the world?
Soft world. Right. Anything software related or just real world related.
Right. You just never know. I mean, we just lived through it with our talk today. So suddenly our cameras are working. That's okay. We'll pivot. We made it happen. So storytelling is a big topic that we enjoy talking about, Pete, and I'm so excited to dive into with you. And we had a great question around it, which was storytelling. Storytelling plays a significant role in both, of course, film directing and gaming, as you know, and creating these islands. How do you incorporate storytelling elements into your Fortnite islands? I know you mentioned, having those points of interest, having all different things to engage with. But could you share an example of an island that you've made or a map that particularly emphasized storytelling? I know you touched on your Battle Royale map, but I'm wondering if there's other ones that you've done there, or just diving deeper into that topic would be great.
Yeah. For me, creating story elements in a lot of my maps is important. Not all of them have story elements, but the ones I really like to focus on do. I created a Zone Wars way back in the day where, I was trying to, it was called Camp Overlook. And there was this meteor that crashed into the camp and people would go there to camp out and check it out. But I wanted to explain why the Zone Wars, everyone was coming in and fighting each other for a victory, right? So I'm like, back then, especially, I was like, oh, there has to be a hook. So my whole thing was like, The Rock was turning the campers against each other and it was possessing them and causing them to fight each other. So I always wanted there to be some kind of element to explain the why. And for me it was just fun, even if people didn't read it or care. That kind of little attention to detail has always been really important to me. Attention to detail in general is very important to me, and when I'm creating these stories, I would rather put out, like in my current map, I have, I'm going to have my first ever animated gnomes. And I went with gnomes because in Fortnite Creative, they were really the only props I could work with that were already fully created, that were like little characters, and they're really cute. So these gnomes in my new map have evolved, and they're moving now, and they're talking, and they're going to give quests, and they're going to do all these things. And the way I look at it is when you're creating something like a battle royale, you have to, the storytelling's really important, but you have to also realize there's an audience that's not going to participate in that. So you want to make sure that when you're creating this stuff, it's there for the people that enjoy the lore, but the people that want to come in and sweat, they can do that too. So you don't want to force it on them, right? It's kind of like if they seek it, they'll seek it. If they don't, they don't. But if you do seek it out, there's going to be a lot of cool gems. Spending the time on the story, spending the time on these characters and having them have a voice, sending you to go do things on the map. I find that stuff so exciting. And I used to play games like that all the time where you're just like running around, unlocking puzzles. And that's something Fortnite BR does so well. And it was one of the main reasons I got so attracted to the game. Was it wasn't just a game where you could play with your friends, but you could grab your friends and go do the quest together and unlock things and all of that. So I wanted to bring a piece of that into the storytelling I'm doing as well.
That do you happen to have any stories, Pete, working with your with your relationship with your community as a content creator and an island creator, where something really cool has happened or come out of the things that you've created in terms of someone's come up to you and said, oh, you know, your island or your videos, or this has really helped me, or maybe it's turned into something really cool?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing that I've seen is just creating a tutorial based off of that, just hearing the feedback from it. Like, you know, I get everything from the map is amazing. Wow, this is a lot of fun, to thank you so much. This tutorial allowed me to build and to make a BR or a zone wars or a box fight. And wow, thank you. This got me started. And seeing messages like that, it's such a great feeling. It's crazy too, because I know a lot of really big creators now have come to me and said, and they're big now, right? They're pretty big creators now, and they're successful. Everyone's successful in their own way. And they've said, oh my gosh, you know, I started with you years back. You were the reason I got started, or you were the videos I was watching to get started. And or your map, when I first saw you put out your Battle Royale map, that inspired me to watch your videos to learn. And now I'm making my own maps. And I don't know, just something about that, knowing that even if it was the smallest little dent, I had that impact in the community. Even if it's just one or two of you out there, I don't know. It's worth it to me to give back. And I don't know. It means so much hearing that and seeing it.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I don't want to go into it just because I know it would take a lot of our time out. But someone did tell me a cool story that was essentially, you know, at the end of the day, if you're making a huge impact on even one person, you did that. You know, you changed that person, or you affected them in such a positive way. And that really means a lot. I know it's hard because we get so caught up with the scale of content and social media. And we're like, oh, we're trying to reach this many people or help this many people, or, you know, maybe even become this famous for some people. Right. But at the end of the day, if you're really, really changing people's lives as individuals, or making someone's day, or like helping someone's career, I mean, that means so much. So we really deeply appreciate, I deeply appreciate all of you who contribute to that each and every day. We have a good question about tutorials. So someone said, create tutorials for Fortnite on YouTube. Like, what motivates you to share this knowledge and expertise? I think we kind of covered this, but we did. Have you ever received any heartwarming feedback? I just kind of,
I'm blowing through these topics really quick.
I didn't mean to take that away. But in terms of motivating you, I believe you touched on it a bit when you said, you know, you yourself was looking for content like that. Was there anything else that motivates you to create that content today?
Yeah, you know, there's always a part of me that goes, do I want to give this out and like give away the secret sauce? You know, I spent all this time learning it. And there's always that part of you that kind of can get like that sometimes. But at the end of the day, you know, I know that I'm always going to figure out something new down the road. And, you know, I love sharing the knowledge because I like to see what people are doing with it. Or I like to see how people take something that I show and then they implement it with stuff they already know And then they'll send me like a look what I did with your tutorial. And I'm like, holy, like, wow, how did you come up with that? Like, that's insane. Like, I never would have thought of that before. And it's just seeing how people will spin what you teach them for their own personal maps or their own creations. It's so fascinating to me. And, you know, I really do enjoy sharing the knowledge. Like I said, once again, I'm a slow learner too. And I want people out there. I have so many people hitting me up going, I could never do that. I could never be a creator. I could never do UEFN. I mean, I had it even with Fortnite Creative. I can never be a Fortnite Creative creator. It's too competitive. Um, and I have days where it gets like that too. But you have to just realize that, like, if you're doing it, if you're in there right now, if you've opened the app and you've even placed one piece down, you're ahead of most people. So, use the tutorials that myself and other tutorial creators are making to your advantage. We're out there. We want to share that knowledge with you. We're giving away the shop. We're literally setting you up for success. I respond to a lot of my YouTube comments as well with people that have follow-up questions. I try my best. I don't get to all of them, but I feel like I answer 80 to 90% of them. But there are so many people in this community that want to help you. And that's why I think I do it too. It's, you have people that are that I've learned, like Clever, like, and Richie and Mustard and hundreds of other huge tutorial people out there. And we're all providing you these resources because we care about the community. So kudos to them as well, because tutorial creation isn't easy. And I just want to applaud everyone that's doing it.
Yes, yes. Major applause in chat. We're getting a lot of love in chat for tutorial creators today. And we did get a couple questions. I saw one in chat that's very similar to one we also received, which was, what brings you more joy, Pete? Is it the being an island creator and building those experiences, or being a content creator and creating the content that you do for your channels? And it's okay if obviously there's levels of love for everything, but curious to hear what really, really excites you between those two.
That's such a good question. For the longest time, the YouTube was huge for me. It was a platform where I could show off not just a map, but share a story with that map, do trailers in the style of a movie trailer, using that platform to really kind of give it the DirectingPete, I don't know what the right word is, but give it that like feel, like that film look that I love to do, and that film style. But recently with, the birth of UEFN, I find myself so drawn to being in the application. I don't know about you guys in chat, but I'm so addicted to UEFN lately. I don't know why. I've just been in there, like, can't get enough of it. And so I've been feeling like a lot of my time is the map creation part of it. Definitely feel like it's a 50-50 though. Because what I'm creating in UEFN, to me, I want to make sure that I'm keeping it alive through not just tutorials, but my community. My community is super strong. And a lot of them have been in my community since the very beginning. And so I love and appreciate them so much. Seeing them grow as creators, I could not choose one or the other. I really would be more of a 50-50, but they both inherently kind of in a circle feed off each other. And it's just great to have. But UEFN, my gosh, I've been so addicted to it lately. But like I said, I'm still very much in Fortnite Creative, and I love Fortnite Creative a lot. I update a lot of maps that I don't feel like need to be converted, because there's features in Fortnite Creative that are so important to the community still, and there's still a huge base that, and I love creating in there and making sure that maps in both are up to date and fresh and new.
Well, it does kind of make sense too, because you're a master at creative. That's something that you've been doing for so many years and building
Right.
tutorials for, where UEFN is in more chance to learn and grow and extend yourself and challenge yourself.
Right.
So it would make sense if you spend more time in that one right now and then still love both equally and both content creation. If I was as good as you, Pete, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to answer that either. That would be 50-50 for me too, because
Right.
you get to affect your community in such a wonderful way for creators, and then on the other side, you're affecting players. So you're doing both, which is really cool. What inspires you to create a tutorial normally? Is it something where you're like, that's a secret sauce, or I haven't seen one on this, or I just discovered something, let me jump on it? Curious to hear more.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is like, there's different types of tutorials I do. There's the ones where it's like, okay, like right now I'm building a BR. Everything's so fresh in my mind that I like to teach usually as I'm learning, because if I teach it as soon as I learn it, I usually am better at teaching it, because I will make sure that I talk about every little step, all the little minutia that goes into like why did it take me so long to stumble here in this part? I want to make sure that, this 30 seconds isn't skipped in the tutorial, because this is where I got stuck for so long and finally figured it out. Let me save people the 4 days it took me to figure out that I needed to click this one thing. Sometimes it gets overlooked when you're like, and I do it sometimes. I'm guilty of it, where I'm like, here's a screenshot, copy these settings, hit pause, but I try really hard not to do that. I try to go through and say, this is why I'm doing it. Sometimes for the sake of YouTube and its algorithm, you can't be as detailed as you like, because retention won't be there. Then your videos don't feed out. So how do you battle that? Well, the way I do it is, for instance, I created a how to make a BR map video. The section where I went through 3 pages of game settings, I literally just threw on some music and I said, copy these settings, because it would have been another 20 minutes of a video if I left that in there. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, too, just want to grab the settings and run, and that's great for them. I made a companion piece recently that says, okay, let's go back and dive into the why on why I chose all of these settings. So in the one I just put out a few days ago, there's here's how I made a battle royale, or why I chose these settings for a battle royale. In 2023, in today's, state of UEFN and Fortnite Creative, why are these the best settings today? And I'll probably make that video again next year when everything's changed again. But I like breaking it out into that kind of like digestible content, where I teach the core of what it is, like how to make a battle royale, keep it as basic as possible. But if you want to learn more, that's great. I have companion pieces to go with it. If not, that's great too. At least you got the basics out of the way.
Absolutely. And I deeply appreciate the fact that you're able to update those, and you do update those every year, because as somebody who is always looking for the most recent to make sure it's covering all the bases, deeply appreciate that. And it always gives you more content. That's great.
Yeah. And so another type of video I create is the one that's demanded from me a lot. I'll get, Pete, can you please give me this? And if I hear it more than a few times, even if I haven't done it recently or never at all, a lot of times I'll sit down and be like, all right, like I got to figure this one out. And I'll sometimes, don't be afraid. If you want to be a tutorial creator too, don't be afraid to ask. The community's great. I had a video where I wanted to learn how to import assets. Richie was kind enough to lend me a hand. It was like the first week of UEFN. I was stumbling like crazy. I wanted to get the video out. Richie walked me through a couple things. I had Bernie sit me down, walk me through a couple things. A lot of people in the community, Spanky Sully helped me a lot. Everyone kind of jumped in. They are great. So if you're looking to be a tutorial creator too, you want to do something like that, don't feel like you have to just know it all. It's not about knowing it all. It's about knowing your resources, of course, getting permission. Sometimes I see people also create a tweet, and I really apologize if it wasn't this person, believe it was like Enderbite created like early on a how to, but it was just a tweet. And I just said, hey, if you're okay with it, I want to make this a video. And so I just took it, gave them credit at the beginning of the tutorial, but broke it into an actual video tutorial for people to understand. So, there's different types of ways I do tutorials. How I decide, those are kind of how I get to it. But there's no way I can know it all. It's just about asking around, making friends in the community, and going from there.
Thank you for sharing all that about the community as well and giving those shout outs. I know they really, really appreciate that. And
if I miss you, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love you all.
And same. Much love to all those people you mentioned. I also see them all the time. And that's really a cool idea too, seeing what's going on Twitter, what people are figuring out, reaching out to them saying, hey, I could make a full video on this for the community if you're down. Because some people just aren't people who like making videos or aren't people who are in front of the camera. And that's a really great way to spread information. So super, super helpful. Also, I will jump on and retweet anything I see out there when you all do that. So I'm sure the community appreciates those exposing those cool tips and tricks too. We've got, let's see, we're halfway through our questions. We definitely have time. And also, Pete, if you do have time to go a few minutes over, but no pressure. If not, I know we came on late because of our tech issues, so we might be able to fit most of them. We answer this one. If you could go back to when you started creating in Fortnite in 2019, what advice would you give yourself? And what were some of the challenges that you faced early on? And how did you overcome those? Great question.
That's a really good question. And 2019, I would have told myself to just do more research back then. I was, I was big in the film world back then, but knew nothing about the gaming world. And, I didn't even know there was a Fortnite official Discord back then. I didn't know there was a official anything really. I just thought it was Reddit, and that was the only way to communicate with Fortnite. And I mean, there was just a lot of things I just didn't take the time to learn. And I put myself into a bubble just doing my maps and not really knowing that Twitter was where the community was. And there was just a lot of tools I wasn't using at the time. I think a lot of people finally got me into it. Hale really, she found me through tutorials that I was teaching. And then she was the one that was like, get on Twitter. What are you doing? Why are you on Twitter? Like, are you crazy? And I was like, do I need to be on Twitter? And she's like, yeah, you need to be on Twitter. So she was the one that actually got me on Twitter. And so thank you, Haley. But yeah, I don't, sorry, X, sorry guys. So sorry. I'm already out of date. I know.
How do we even say
it? Everyone in this chat, just realize though, you're going to be able to say back in my day, it was called Twitter.
Oh, so, no. Pete, I'm going to lie awake at night thinking of that.
So, I'm grateful for that. And, getting on there was life-changing for me. I didn't know the community was there. I was I wasn't aware of what I wasn't aware of. Right. So, just learning all that, if you're a new creator watching this now, that would be huge. Join Twitter, get involved with the community, or at least follow people in the community to get started. It's such a great community. And, that's the kind of things I would have told myself back then. And just kind of learning where my resources were back then because I didn't know where to go. And now I love what, Fortnite Creative has done with all of its content and chats like this and resources. And so kudos, to the Epic team because you guys have been absolutely fantastic. And honestly, been so thrilled with how the community's been changing and shaped and how you guys have been handling it. It's been absolutely fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you. Seriously, this wouldn't be what it is without the community, without the creators here, without the support that you all give each other as well. I think, there's only so much we can do as developers when we're here to support a community, as the individuals that are working on the platform, but it really is the community that makes it. So major props to all that you have built and everyone in here. I'm seeing so many great faces that have contributed so much as individuals to this. So we wouldn't be able to do half of this without you. So I really appreciate it. And you're very welcome, Pete. I'm sure everyone here, everyone at Epic really appreciates you all too. And I see quite a few friendly faces from Epic in here. So thank you also for joining. For those of you who are joining midway through, this is a creator fireside chat where we talk all about directing Pete's best practices, his experiences, advice that he has. And we've had some really fantastic questions this time around. So we will be uploading a VOD at some point in time. We had some tech issues, but when we do, you'll be able to catch all that if you did miss some of it, which has been super fun. So let's see, we've gone over, oh my God. And what a great piece of information too. You know what's funny too, Pete? I was on Twitter. I've been on Twitter throughout my career, but I also didn't realize without interviewing and chatting with a few of you when I first got here that the community was really deeply on Twitter too. I mean, X. God.
I know, right?
I didn't realize it either. And it's just there's so much going on there. And it's a great way to see how you all are doing and what's going on. And of course, hear your feedback. But of course, we also want to plug the EDC, the developer website, Epic developer. It's dev.epicgames. Stacy linked it earlier, Flack did. So thank you so much for that. We also have, of course, our Discord here. We've got our lovely Reddit run by our wonderful moderators. And just a bunch of great platforms that we're always looking to improve. So if you ever have any feedback for Epic about this, you can always DM me personally. And of course, for these events as well. So with that all, to say, love this question. So Fortnite Creative has a diverse and passionate community, UFN2. But this person specifically was like, look, we're talking about creative. Can you recall a particularly, oh my God. Okay. We talked a bit about interactions that you've had with your audience, but is there a particularly memorable interaction or collaboration you've had with viewers or other creators that left quite a lasting impact on you? I know you mentioned Richie Tunes and other people, but is there one in particular that is a great story that you would love to elaborate on?
Yeah, I mean, I hope she doesn't mind me calling her out. But Haley Hale, so Haley came into my Discord one day and just was randomly like, I was literally about to give up on Fortnite Creative until I found this Discord. You guys are so great. This community's awesome. Yada, yada, yada. And, from there, we kind of just built a friendship, and she's made an impact on me because I've loved watching her grow through her career so quickly. And just seeing, at that point in time, I was having a lot of self-doubt. I was going through a period where I felt like I couldn't grow anymore. I kind of maybe hit my peak. And I feel like a lot of creators in chat might be able to resonate with this, where you just kind of feel like you get these days where you feel like, is this it? Have I topped out? Am I done? Am I, and so seeing Haley's journey, she came in, I saw her get featured, shortly after, and I saw her, on Twitter being so active and starting to make friends with everybody. And it felt like overnight she knew everyone. And from there, just seeing her join a build team and just continue to grow her path, all within a year, mind you, it was so inspiring to me that even though she came to me because she was feeling defeated and I helped her get back up, it kind of went full circle seeing her grow so quickly. And it made me go, okay, she got this. Why can't I have this? I can do this. So what? I had a little slump in my career. So what? And so, I don't know, stuff like that really inspires me, is when people rebound, or people grow, because you're always going to have people that put you down. There's going to be people that stop you. There can be people that my mom always calls them the crabs in the bucket. She goes, there's people that, she goes, don't surround yourself with people that are crabs in the bucket. The metaphor basically is, if you put a bunch of crabs in a bucket, they'll never get out of the bucket because they're always going to keep pulling each other down. So it's really a funny saying, but it's a true one. And it resonated with me. So don't let that happen. Sometimes I allow it to creep in and you just have to push it away. But anyway, I love the analogies my mom gives me. So when you get moments like that, go to your peers, go to your friends, go to your parents, whoever your connection is. My mom's my best friend. So I can go to her. We all have our best friends in different ways. And so, go to them and get that reassurance, because gosh, we all get down in the dumps, but I'm sure I veered off this question horribly, but I'm just going on a tangent, but I think it's important to talk about. If you don't have Jake, you have friends. If you don't have friends, you have one now in me. So, I think as a community, I love this community and I won't stop saying that because it's true. And, I love how the community's changed since UEFN and I don't think it's changed in any which way other than in a different direction, a great direction. We have so many new people that are now in here and I'm learning so many new faces and they're not new. They've been around. They've been in the Unreal world forever, right? So this amazing mashup of Fortnite creative with Unreal talent and these veterans from both ends of the spectrum meeting together, it's a different community, but it's a great community. And I just love it. So, and I love everything I'm learning. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Pete. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm just saying I'm loving everything I'm learning from all these people.
You know what? Me too. I can build a house in creative now, y'all. I need to expand. I need to build a mall next or maybe a mansion, but we're working on getting me a better PC so I can edit early on the Mac Club. So sorry. It's been a struggle. But what I really love, yes, much love to those people you mentioned. Haley Hale actually has been fantastic. As someone for me too, a lot of you have, she is one of the many people who has, reached out to me and spoken to me and given me a lot of insight and has been really helpful. And I've really seen her take off on Twitter as well in the time that I've been here. And she inspires me and also informs me a lot, just like a lot of you do. But I do see your tweets so much. So keep it up, Haley. You're awesome. And to your point, Pete, where you said like, oh, I was in a slump. I saw this. She was blowing up doing. Honestly, I would say for any role in tech, one of the biggest things you can do is this networking, the social networking, right? I think there's a fantastic article that someone told me about, but I cannot for the life of me find it when I try to look it up. But what it essentially said is if you just spend like 10 to 30 minutes a day, even if you're building your heads down, building something, you have your full-time job, you're creating, go onto your social media accounts that you manage, that you keep up with, and just go through and click around and find new people in your industry. I mean, you could even go outside of creators, right? You could go into other types of developers, right? That are working at, whether at Epic or other places, and just add value to their posts, cheer them on, be that resounding voice of this community and that overall feeling and support that we have to other people, and build those relationships. Just 10 to 30 minutes a day. If you have it, it can do wonders for your career. Also highly recommend conventions that you can go to. We've got Unreal Fest coming up. We've got, GDC we're at. There's, PAX you can find, things like that. So going out there, shaking hands, meeting people, having, cards ready or information ready, and just generally making connections that feel good, right? I would always recommend that. And like you're saying, Pete, meeting the cool people out there on Twitter, on Instagram, X and Instagram and everywhere. It's so important, but it will do wonders for your career. So that's an excellent point, can attest. And the crabs in the bucket thing, 100% real. Someone taught me about that last year and I was like, it is crabs in a bucket. What a weird feeling. And also a very visually stimulating thing to think about. I was like, I can see them all.
I was like, all right.
It's wild. Ooh, okay. Let's see. What time are we at? Okay, we're a little over. Let's see. I'm going to pick one or two last questions that are really awesome. Y'all asked so many good ones. I think I have my two. There's so many good ones here. How do you stay inspired, Pete, and continue to come up with fresh and innovative ideas for your islands that you create and your content? And are there any specific sources of inspiration you rely on?
Yeah, so keeping inspired, if I ever feel like I'm in a slump, kind of piggybacking off what we were talking before, I spend that time to just see what other people are doing, what they're creating, um, really kind of just dive into, um, getting my juices flowing again, going, what are other people doing? And it's not to copy, right? It's just to go, okay, the platforms, sometimes I feel like, oh gosh, like all my ideas are stale and I want to take a break. I want to stop for a minute. I want to just see what other people are doing. But how do I come up with my own ideas? How do I make fresh content? I pull in a lot of inspiration from, I'm a really, so a lot of the maps I create, I'm not the best Fortnite player. I'm very bad at the game. And so I always like to, if I do a sweaty map, for instance, I like to create a way for a camper to still be a camper. That's me. So I always have like every map that I create, if you focus well enough, there's always a way to camp around every map I create. And that's, if you figure it out, it's because I created it for myself. But creating that content, and sorry, I may have missed part of the question, so you may have to ask it again. But, part of the coming up with the inspiration too is like on the film side of things, like I love big epic films like Lord of the Rings and all those big fantasy medieval type films. Huge place in my heart. Harry Potter, all the Harry Potters and all of that. Like that, those kind of films, like growing up as a kid, oh my gosh, like it just lets your imagination go wild. And a lot of the ideas that come up with on the platform are really based on being grandiose and over the top and how can I do this thing that I want to do that no one's ever done before, but it just came up in my head because of something I like in the movie industry that they've done, or some kind of element in a movie that I haven't seen in a game yet, that kind of stuff.
Super smart. No, I love, thank you. It's so great to have you where you have experience in the other industries as well, because I truly deeply believe that from what I've seen in the industry over the years, the things where people take from other places that inspire them and excite them and bake that into the industry that they're in can lead to so many amazing things and can lead to you breaking through and can lead to these big advancements that happen with the community. They can also inspire the community. They can level up the community. You can become that inspiration for everyone else to go, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute.
And
I could do that.
and as a side note for everyone in chat saying Final Fantasy VII, huge yes. I pull a lot of my cinematic inspiration from Final Fantasy.
Aw.
When you those cinematics they had back then was the entire reason I got into gaming. So I just had to throw that out there. Huge pog in the chat for that.
Wait a second. So the last question I was going to ask you.
Oh no.
No.
Go for
That's
it.
good though. It's a great segue. We're going straight into it. Building on your background in film directing and storytelling here, how do you use your cinematic techniques or concepts to enhance that visual storytelling and for your islands and your promotional content? Because you've touched on it a little bit too, and it's a great segue.
Yeah. So, I do something that I don't see a lot of other creators doing, and not to say you have to do this by any means. It's just something I enjoy doing. So, I create two different types of trailers. I create a story trailer and I create a game trailer. The game trailer is literally just that. It's the standard game trailer that you guys see. It's the 60 seconds, the gameplay aspects of it gets people excited. I drop that into, my discovery trailer, put that as kind of like the main trailer. But I also do a story trailer, and this is where I get to go nuts. This doesn't have to have a time limit. This is just me. For those people that want it, can get a story, a backstory of what's going on. And I love to use that as a platform to say, like, this is what's going on right now in the storyline. This is where we're at. This is where we're going. So I do a story trailer alongside it, and I love doing them. They're so much fun. I also do end event teasers because I'm in the mini BR scene. And there is actually a huge mini BR community within the Fortnite Creative community. I feel like there's a lot of sub communities within Fortnite Creative, but that's the one I've kind of been a part of. And, I love to do end events. With Fortnite Battle Royale doing end events, seeing those were so awe-inspiring. In the Battle Royales that I create, I would just wanted to keep that up. And so I also make trailers that tease an end event as well, to get people psyched and ready to go. So I create 3 videos per season, usually, or I try to. But that is in a season format for something like a battle royale. For a gun game, something else, you may not do that. And that 60-second trailer is perfect. You spend the first 20 seconds telling the story, 30 seconds. Then the last 30 seconds is your gameplay, or you can flip it around. The next trailer I'm actually making right now will be the first time I'm merging a story trailer with a game trailer. So, there's a million ways to cut it, but I get my inspiration for those basically, like we talked about, through other games, seeing how they tell their story through cinematics. What I loved about Final Fantasy cinematics, it was back before there was voices, so they had to express everything visually. It was the silent video game era where there is no real voice acting. It was just dramatization through reaction. And so I love that type of storytelling. And as I dive in and learn more on how to animate my own characters, I'm hoping to bring more of that to life in future storytelling within the UEFN environment.
You know what I want to see, Pete? I don't know if you do it. I don't know if you would want to do it, but I'm sensing some tutorials around trailer building and video editing for our community, because I know it can be hard. I mean, even in content creator community in general, for those who stream and things like that, finding someone to create trailers and edit those things can be so tricky. And doing it yourself, if you're not, it's not natural, is so hard.
Right. No, it's been asked a lot, and you're right. I need to do it, and I'm going to put that on the top of my list because I really think a tutorial like that would be so useful.
It really, really would, especially when you're touching on the different types of tutorials. I speak for the team when I say that. I'm sure everyone in here does it because everyone here is perfect. But a lot of the time when we get submissions for things, we don't get trailers, we don't get video, we don't get fly-throughs, we don't. And it's hard for the team to go, okay, what is this? Let me look into it. Do I have the time to dig deeper into this? I really wish they had a video. So please, 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 whenever you're submitting, that will highly increase your chances having that video. It doesn't happen a lot, believe it or not. And that is so, so, so important. So thank you so much for touching on that, Pete. We're over, like we said, but I would love to give you some final moments to talk about what exciting projects or content you have planned for the future. And if there's anything you would like to share with the team here and the creator community, including your socials and stuff like that, so people know where to find you and what to look for from you coming soon.
Absolutely. To all those new creators that are watching this, speaking to you, get on Twitter, build up that community. Follow me, I'll follow you back. I'm DirectingPete on Twitter. And, as far as projects that I'm working on right now, I have a new BR that is coming out in about 3 weeks to 4 weeks. It's a new BR completely based in UEFN. I've been working on it since the launch of UEFN. It's called Knights of the Apocalypse. It's going to be a lot of fun. It has a very big medieval theme to it. I'm partnering with some big creators, so I can't wait to share more about that as well. And, I'll leave you with this message, which is no matter what level of creator you're at, you have value in the community. I know a lot of us can get hung up by numbers sometimes. You see these huge maps take off and you see these large numbers, and they are so intimidating that you want to just curl up in a ball and quit sometimes. I'll speak for myself. I get like that a lot sometimes, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, how do I compete with that? Do I compete with that? Do I just stop? And so no matter what phase of the process you're at right now in your journey, my advice to you is just keep going. Just keep going. There's always going to be an opportunity. There's always going to be a door open somewhere down the line for you. And even if it's not this moment, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week. So just keep your chin up. everyone here has value. I even came into this chat going, gosh, do I really have value to be here? And I'm being vulnerable like that because it's important to share that with all of you of like, we all have that self-doubt, but you just have to keep going and be there for each other. It's hard, right? Stay away from any of those crabs in the bucket. Find the people that uplift you and make you a better you, and just keep going. That's all I can say. This was such a pleasure. Shane, you're an amazing community manager. So happy to have you here. And gosh, just again, kudos to you and the entire Epic team for bringing more transparency to Fortnite Creative and UEFN and all of the platforms. You guys have been fantastic for having such a small team and dealing with all of us very demanding creators, as I know I can be one of them. I just want to thank you all so much. It means the world to me, and I know it means the world to a lot of people in this chat. So thank you.
Well, how can I follow up with that, Pete? I'm emotional. Well, I also want to take one last moment and thank Pete. So when I first came on, Pete and I were able to chat and connect. And actually a lot of what Pete shared with me has been, and quite a few people, I've been doing my best to, and we've been doing our best to incorporate into the community as of late. So if you do have any feedback for what we can do better, or any of these events, or what events you'd like to see, my DMs are open. I think I do get like 500 DMs a day from Fortnite players. But I do my best to answer all the ones from here in a timely fashion. But please, please, please do reach out. Let us know if there's anything else you'd like to see. I really appreciate you, Pete, for being candid with me and being vulnerable during our chat too, and our cozy little fireside chat. I hope it was as much fun for you as it was for me, despite all the craziness we had.
It was amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. If any of you would like to be part of a fireside chat, please feel free and let us know. We'd love to add you to the list to be considered for these. They're super fun. We're looking for people from all different backgrounds in creative and UEFN, so that they can hopefully resonate and help all different individuals. Like you were saying, Pete, there's all different sub communities, and we want to be there to support. Maybe there's a future where we have panels and we talk about different topics and things virtually too, for those who can't make it in person for our events. So thank you so, so much. Thank you again, Pete. We really appreciate you. And thank you for all you've done for me as community manager so far too. And each and every one of you, I'm blessed to be here. You guys are wonderful. Have a wonderful day, everybody. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next time. We'll see you soon. We'll have a live stream next month, and hopefully another fireside chat. We'll see. They might be overlapping in a funny date, but we'll figure it out. Thank you for all coming. Share your feedback. We appreciate you. Bye, everybody. Bye, Pete.
Bye.
See you later.